And we're live. This is the Martin Fowler Scrum. Here with Sam, Stella, Nicholas, and Matt. And I don't know. I can go first, I guess. Yesterday I basically spent the whole day kind of trying to play around with that project that I'm doing. That like kind of like a shopping cart, kind of like a. I told you yesterday that I saw that that tutorial. It was actually of a recipe tutorial where you clicked on it and added ingredients, and I made some progress and I learned a little bit. But it's still not doing well. The keeping track of the individual prices of the products and then keeping track of the amount and that's working, but then for some reason it's not adding the products to the sale. So yeah, I guess that's a little bit of a blocker, but nothing that I don't think we're going to work through. And today gonna participate in this mob. I can't remember which one is coming up, but I have a mob today, and then gonna have the Phoenix one sprint. And yeah, that's it. Sam, I think you're in next.
Hey, yeah. So, gosh, what's going on? What is it? It was Wednesday yesterday, and we had the NHS Wiki meeting where we took sort of Mariam's discovery, and we did documentation for NHS Wiki where we had a complete deploy of a media wiki up on HTTPS, and the HTTPS didn't go through live immediately, and I was like, oh no, it's just not working. We got to take a different approach. Now it's and then like a few hours later it kind of went through, and I'm like, okay, we kind of have a stable thing. Oh, hey Mike is here. We kind of have a stable thing. We can start building on top of that. Gosh, I'm just going through all sorts of emotions of anxiety and different stuff. I should be having a meeting with one of the clients on Saturday, maybe, and I'll find out more about where we are. So anyway, so that was good. That's kind of I think way of breaking the blocker documented. So that's great. Then this morning I ended up got most of the time helping one of our trustees with the GDPR issues, trying to sort out like little projects and things, and trying to cope with this sort of, there's so many little admin things to do. I'm like kind of almost getting swept away in a tide of anxiety. I've done like a couple of things, and now I'm like, calm. But then we also had the local support meeting. I saw Brent and Zhao Hong, and Brent's fixed the map issue that we had in local support, and we started cleaning up the board a little bit. The progress, no blockers there. That's seeming all good. Yeah. So the deep learning mob coming up. Got pairing with Nick later on, and I think that's the day. Do I have any blockers? None spring to mind immediately. I think we've got the ongoing Paranauts kind of Jitsi thing. Going to be looking at that with Ryder tomorrow. That's my report.
Thank you, Nick.
Yep. Well, today I am planning on start diving on the pull requests that I mentioned about Mercury, and we have to we have to activate the change on the production server for grabbing the readmes, right?
Yes.
Cool. Do you want me to do that, or you're?
You could do it. It would be, if you did that, that would be great. And because I have alerted all of the project leads
in Friday,
the project support channel that we would do it tomorrow, and no one has said and don't do it. So I think we do it now.
Oh, okay, cool. So we do it now. I mean, I will activate it.
I kind of said that we would do it tomorrow.
Okay. No. I just was thinking, yeah, let's wait. Tomorrow is fine. I will wake up and I will do it.
Wonderful.
Perfect. Yep. That is my report. Yeah.
Any blockers?
No, I don't think so. The only thing that I will face is how we would like to structure our documents for each project in the repository, in the GitHub repository, because maybe the different repositories, they will need to have like a little folder saying like doc or docs or something like that in order to identify where I need to grab that information for displaying it in our site. But yeah, that is something that we can define later. No problem with that.
Awesome. And Stella.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
So the beta trying to implement subscriptions in Rails. I'm creating an app to handle subscriptions, which is a bit hard because like most of the existing things that have been implemented to do with subscriptions, Stripe and other types of payments, which we do not have here. So for me, I'll do it using manual payments. Then a follow-up on yesterday's marketing meeting. I told Rails Girls Mombasa about the idea for junior software developers. So Rails Girls Mombasa has been having weekly meetups where they were learning some Rails, and they just finished their last cohort. Yeah, I just wanted to know how they could get started.
Cool. Nice. No blockers still?
No, only blocker is trying to implement that thing, but hopefully I'll get things done. The subscription thing.
Okay. Yeah. If you want to pair, or if you, we can talk on Slack.
Yeah, sure.
And Mike said that he's in a noisy place, so he's just listening in today. But he finally managed to get the Media Wiki and Canboard on a Windows machine. Nice.
Nice, man.
Well done.
Cool. Good job. All right. Well, I think that's our Scrum. So now we're after Scrum. After Scrum. Where we swim, apparently.
For some reason,
Yeah. I love it. It's cool.
Anything else anybody wants to say before we?
In the new shop that I have, I'm using Grape API for building the API of the Rails application. I mean, they already built it, but I'm learning to use it, and it's pretty cool. I mean, the way they use it, I think that we could implement that on website 1 in order to start building our API for making all the requests that we will need from our React application. So, yeah, Grape. Yeah, Grape.
Grape, like the fruit.
Like, is it a fruit? Okay, yeah, it's a fruit. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Okay.
I have every second morning. I have grapes for breakfast. So
Okay, I will Google it because I didn't know that.
yeah, so that's this. That's this. I'll put the link to have the link. Is this one? Right? This one?
Yep, that one. Yep.
Cool. Oh yeah, awesome. Good stuff. Yeah. I was going to mention one thing there. Yeah. So Stella, wonderful that you've got other people interested in kind of the internship. I think I was confused initially. So the junior software developers. Basically, people can just sign up at agileadventures.org and we'll get them into the Slack. What we've tried to do with we kind of advertise through the Do It framework in the UK and European Union about people being kind of like junior software developers. Effectively, any volunteer who comes in and starts contributing code in Agile Ventures is one of our junior software developers. So there's the internships, which are kind of specifically for sales and marketing. That's kind of a different setup that we've done with people, and that's for the non-technical people. But if people are just interested in the coding, then we just kind of on board. But we can make it. We can make it if the people have a connection with an educational institution, we can do paperwork to make it like an official internship. If they have a educational, like a university or a boot camp or something. So, but main thing to do is to get them to connect to me and Federico, and we'll work stuff out. So that was for Stella. The other thing I just noticed there's sort of a thread so Stella's talking there about working on some subscriptions related code and talking about taking manual payments, and Matt's talking about this, the one we chatted about yesterday, his sort of recipe related site, and I was remembering, in fact, in like probably in the year 2000, I was in Tokyo, and this was the beginning of the previous internet bubble, and I was working at a startup, and in my spare time, I was using Java servlets to write a little e-commerce app for my girlfriend at the time, who became my wife. But she ran a jewelry store at that time, and I created like a kind of online store for her to like show her jewelry, and then people to buy stuff. At the time, I think we were also doing manual payments, but I remember the like for the amount of hours that I put into it. I mean, at the time, Amazon was not that impressive. Well, it still was so much. Also, I remember one of the guys at the startup saying to me, "Oh, you put so much time in it. It must be like an Amazon now." And it just sort of reminds me about, yeah. I mean, I think it's a fantastic learning experience going through trying to set up one of those kind of e-commerce things from scratch in Rails or whatever framework. I think it's such a fantastic learning experience, and I think maybe we all have to go through it. At the same time, that there's some point later on where you discover, like for subscription things like Avdi Grimm, he said he's never going to build any of that stuff again, and he just uses like there's a whole WordPress subscriptions framework that manages all subscriptions with all the different things. And actually, for Stella, you know, you may have all sorts of different needs. Maybe it does need custom coding, but it's an interesting thing about, you know, that choice of when do you grab the custom code and when do you grab something off the shelf, and you know.
Yeah.
So
I think like it's a little bit different. I think maybe it's even simpler. I don't know how, but the one that, because the site that I'm doing for her, for not just for her but for the people at
right.
farmers markets and stuff, is not actually for the clients of theirs as of yet to make any purchases, right, or any e-commerce or anything like that. It's more just for her to be able to keep track of her sales and the amounts, and then that way she can keep track of her profit.
Okay, so you're not having to handle payments at all. Like, yeah. I guess when you mentioned a shopping cart, I was thinking that there was some sort of payment framework that was.
Yeah, because I found a shopping cart tutorial that has some similarities, but then this with actually paying for it is no, I don't have that yet.
So the way that you would use the shopping cart is that she's just, so like it's for her internal auditing, bookkeeping. She would like, okay, this thing that had these things, I made this sale, that would collect it together, and then she'd just say, this is how much I sold it for. It doesn't actually have to do any of the payment thing.
Yeah. And then they have like a joint table that keeps track of so for each product you can go and see the sales for that product and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I think like just to talk about I think like so that's why I'm trying to balance, like I'm working on actual projects and agile ventures, but I also want to be able to I like the idea of just like looking at my personal life, and like since I started coding, I can like look at problems and be like, well, why can't I just develop a software that solves this problem, you know? So yeah, and then also as well, like just trying to at some point get hired, you know, is like building up my resume.
Yes, absolutely. No, and I think that it's for me, I live in this frustration, like watching, you know, the movies where the people who are kind of like the tech cool, like Iron Man, he basically sees like an issue and he like goes and like sorts of stuff out. And I have met people who I think were, I don't know, in certain sorts of frameworks, people who could put together things very fast to hit like tooling to help them do stuff. I think particularly when they were like writing it like for desktop software, who would like make stuff work really well. I don't know, like we seem to be like, I keep on wanting to make like a better Hangout system, like with the stuff with the Jitsi, and it's never as fast as Iron Man. That's what I'm comparing myself to. It's like, you know, I haven't kind of like Agile Ventures like and it all just kind of works, and we're like, oh, suddenly we're right now we can go into space. But that's you know, couple of years out, I guess.
Trying to get more people involved.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll get, I guess they say, like, you know, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go in a group. So yeah. No, I'm just. It's so lovely to have met. We met so many different people through Agile Ventures, and there's, yeah, it's definitely like, particularly come back to when I was programming in servlets and what have you. You can do, and this is interesting with Rails and Ruby, you can get a lot more done, and there's a lot more gems that you can plug in. It's just interesting how the Rails ecosystem is different then again from the WordPress ecosystem, and like the level of plugging and the level of, because of the GDPR stuff I was fixing for this trustee thing earlier today was WordPress, and it's just it's so interesting how the different ecosystems evolve. But I should stop and go and get ready for the deep learning mob. And yeah, great to see you.
Yeah, good to see you all again.
Bye, guys.
Yeah,
See you.
All right, bye for now. Take care.
Yeah.